Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. This interesting. I love this technology. Done. And here we are. Okay. So welcome, Ellie, to the Ask Me Anything session today with me, Evelyn Brink. And we're going to take just under an hour to talk about video leadership, video presence, how to show up powerfully, how to deepen your expression, and anything you'd like me to ask about. And I'm super excited to answer any questions that you may have. And yes, and then if you're interested, I will let you know a little bit about what I do and how I help people up leveling and elevating their leadership using video. Does that sound fair?
Perfect. What
Great.
I needed, yes.
So first thing we need to do is make sure that our phones are not going to ring and interrupt us if we can. So turn yours on silent if you haven't done already, and turn your WhatsApp or email notifications on silent on your computer, as we'll be hearing you.
Let me just
See where that works.
Yes.
And for anybody watching this live, welcome. Welcome, welcome. And for everyone who is seeing this after this live session, welcome. Let's treat it as a live session. It's going to be a super valuable training session. And I look forward to sharing the wisdom with everyone. And for those who don't know me, my name is Evelyn Brink, and I've had the pleasure to be performing to people, to audiences between 3 and 11 million, although I haven't seen the 11 million. The most people I've seen is probably 16,000 in a football stadium. I have been known once upon a time as Europe's premier Madonna impersonator, so I had the chance to express myself quite widely and broadly and boldly in the world. I've been coaching for almost 20 years and found at one point that it's not a given that you know how to express yourself and be big on yourself. And the other disclaimer is it's Easter holidays, so children are probably going to disturb at some point or another, even though they have been told not to many times. They've also been bribed with a movie if they do really well, but we're not going to expect them not to disturb. And the beautiful thing I think now about this new working from home environment is I guess, well, most of us are used to it, and it's kind of cute when they do come in. But it's, yeah, I'm also so grateful when I have space and can concentrate. So I'm like, please don't disturb. It's very cute, but not for me. So, yeah, so I have a strong, long, big background in performing and in coaching alike. Tuffy, thank you very much, but can you not disturb me now for an hour? Yeah, both of you. You know the deal. Yeah, I love you very much. You want to say hello? Love you. Please leave mommy alone to do her work now. Say hello. Okay, and off you go. Hey guys, thank you so much. Remember what we said, yeah? No more. I really know how to do that.
I have two, so
Okay,
I understand.
You have two. You have two kids.
Yeah, they're a bit grown up now, but a little bit more grown up. But
a little bit more grown up. That's already
still noisy. Still very noisy.
Oh, the noise. Okay, so what was I saying? So I was saying that I have a background in performing, I have a background in coaching, almost 20 years now. And I noticed it's not a given that we know how to actually come out of ourselves. And even though I'm a trained actress, and even though I've been around the world performing, not just, I mean, Madonna's the thing I say because people know about it. I've been doing one-woman shows and writing my own material, and I write songs and comedy and whatever, the whole show. And I've been doing some really, the songwriting I do is very personal. But even though I've done all these things, I found it actually really hard to be my human, authentic self in front of a camera. Possibly because I'm a performer. I always want something from the camera. There's so much going on in my head and in my system that I found it very challenging to get to a place where I can relate me and my actual personality through the lens and connect with people. And I found out that that is what we need, though, especially as leaders, people with a voice. We need to be able to show up as a human, as a full human. We don't want to be too corporate because nobody cares about that anymore. And we don't want to be too casual because then people don't see how we add value. So it's finding this really fascinating dance between showing who you are in the world and bringing your message across in a way that is so entertaining and engaging and informative and valuable that people want to come and work with you as a result. So that's something that I've been helping clients with for the last years, and it's been an absolute joy. And from there, I've up leveled my own business into what I really stand for, which is business by pleasure. Everything I do is nurtured and informed by: is it fun? Is it pleasurable? Is it connected? Does it actually make sense? Does it help me bring out the divine feminine into the world? Or is it just another replicate of: here's how you make money quickly, fast, and be rich so you can be someone? Which is something I continuously get dragged into, admittedly, and fascinated by, because I love success and I love money. Who doesn't? And every time I do kind of hit these walls of either exhaustion or disgust, I'm like, this is not how it's meant to be. Surely there's another way. So I'm always guided back to asking myself, what is this other way? And that's what I'm really committed to, actually dedicated to, in a very real way, meaning I'm not the guru at the top that has it all figured out, but I'm on that path as well, and leading other high level entrepreneurs on into a way of creating and scaling their business from a place of well-being, of extreme well-being, of connection with your whole self, with your sensuality, with your family, with your relationships, everything involved. And so I love when things are fueled from pleasure, because that's how the life energy flows through us, and that's how everything makes sense and becomes purposeful and meaningful. Fun enough, also it works much better financially. Yay, who would have thought? And so, as a part of that, showing up on video and leading through the camera is become a part of that. It's pillar number 3: expression. And so, the expression piece is one important from a marketing and promotion piece, of course, and on the other side, from a value add and elevation of your own expression of your leadership. And both of these sides are really precious and dear to my heart. And I'm really looking forward to talking with you about any of these subjects, Ellie, and see how we can help you in your business and your getting out there. Yeah. And everyone who's watching, of course, too. If you want to join in another session of this one day, do let me know. Send me a comment. And if you'd like to know about the course, the program Video Impact that I'm leading, I'm going to be talking about this at the end of this session, then let me know. But now we want to really dive in and see how we can help Ellie elevate. You have a name with an E, so it's awesome. Let's
Yes.
have Ellie evolve, elevate, engage, and entertain.
That's cool. Thank you, Evelyn. Uh, Basic question: how do I start showing up naturally in camera? I think I'm so self-conscious about my voice, about how I look. I mean, that it really frees my what I have to give to others. It's just I'm more I concentrate more on me than the value that I have to offer, and it's never good enough. I always record like 20 times my videos, or even 50, or I don't know how many. It's never good enough, and so I never press the button of just share that video, even though I know that it can bring value to others. So
I
yeah,
love it. That was like 10 questions in one already.
yeah,
10
I
things
think
I
it's the
could
basic
use.
one. How do you start to overcome that fear and to truly show yourself
Yeah,
in camera?
great. Thank you. So there's a superficial level on which I could answer, and I would love to take the opportunity to go a little deeper. Could you tell me what that would mean to show yourself on camera? Who is the self that you want to show? What would you
I
see if you were to show up fully? Who would I be meeting?
Yeah, it's just if I was talking to a person like a next, like a close person, like not in camera, just a live person. Is I'm translating this from the Spanish. So I would like to show up the same way, like if I was talking to you on a cafe, than if I were talking to you in camera, like not knowing that you're there but not seeing you. I just would like to show up truly how I am, or how I do my work.
I get that. That makes sense. So you're now asking, well, how do I be myself the way that I would be in a cafe? Now,
Yes.
question to you though, Ellie, do you sign clients in cafes?
Well, not really. I do in the office. It's not in a cafe, but I put the cafe, but it could be the cafe or the office. I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I do sign.
The reason I ask this is because there's sometimes we're a different version of ourselves when we
Okay.
have a chat in a cafe or a coffee
Yeah.
shop or a tea place, a restaurant, than we do when we have a focused coaching conversation. And there's no rules. Like, there are many ways lead to Rome. You could be the one telling me, no, actually, Evelyn, when I'm in a chat with people
I'm
in a
the
cafe and then
same.
they just sign up.
Yeah,
But
I am the same person. I mean, it's just probably more relaxed environment, or yeah, but yeah, I'm the same. In a cafe talking to a client or talking to a prospect, then in the office, asking the same question, like, it's probably more relaxed or more intimate.
okay.
But
So you would
it's
have the same conversation in the two different locations. Now the
Yes.
question is, how do I have that very conversation through the camera?
Yes.
Got it. What would you say is really in the way?
I think it's just my insecurity about how I look or how I sound. It's just about myself. It's self-confident, I think it is.
Right. Isn't it so fascinating that because we're looking into a camera, suddenly all these issues come up?
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
why do you think that is? Is that because you're seeing yourself? Or is it just because there's a camera? Like, even if you weren't to see yourself, would that still happen?
I think it has to do with, you can see yourself, so you're more self-conscious. So if I'm already very self-conscious, so that puts an extra pressure. But also is because I cannot see, if I'm doing like a workshop and I don't see people faces, like reaction, I'm missing that. So I keep worrying about, so you don't get any feedback, bad or good. So you just there by yourself, and that, if you have a negative self-talk leading that moment, it can put a lot more pressure. Yeah.
Right. So now you've just explained beautifully what you do and what the cure is. So you're saying that because you're not getting the feedback, you can't see the instant feedback, then there's a negative self-talk in your head, and that leads to those insecurities being probably blown up, or at least you're really aware of them. Whereas in the live situation, at least because you have the feedback, that negative self-talk is down a little.
Yes.
Okay. So it then looks like it's the camera's fault or the situation's fault that this is going on. But can you see that actually what's the problem is the negative self-talk? If you didn't have the negative self-talk, just because nobody's saying you're great in the moment, you'd be much freer. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
So in a way, that could be a much more potent game changer for you than anything camera related. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So we want to go to the root of the issue. So what we're hearing here is negative self-talk happens. And it happens to all of us, Ellie. You're not alone. Everybody who's got this, raise a hand. Okay, yay. 100% of the room here. It's a thing, it's an occurrence that happens. So, but how we deal with that is a real, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
So, and when it pops up as well is also interesting, because for some people, the negative self-talk pops up when they are in a room with people. Because they're seeing the faces, they will tell me they have all this anxiety. Because what if the faces change? I remember once in a live performance, when in the age of, I was born before mobiles. I was born before mobiles. You too. And as I started, as I was performing and the mobiles started becoming popular, this would happen in the theater. And to me, that meant they hate me. They're not interested in me. I'm so bad, people prefer their mobile phone. I mean, by now, everybody has a mobile phone because they're filming you, and plus they're checking their messages. You can be Madonna herself. You can be anyone. You can be, and people are going to look at the mobile phone. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but my mind was interpreting, seeing the phone as I'm not good enough. So is the problem the phone, or is the problem my mind telling me that I'm not good enough?
Or it's the beliefs that I'm not good enough, and that negative talk that is getting in the way for sure.
Correct. Yeah. So it's a negative talk getting in the way. So for that, we want to understand everybody has negative talk, and we want to see when it's appropriate and when it's just not. Because when negative talk is in the way, like 100% of the time, this is not going to be conducive. Same thing when people go to an interview, or they go to a live presentation to the board, or they do anything in life. That self-talk comes in the way, and when you believe it, you have an issue. The self-talk comes in the way you don't believe it, you have a laugh. So that's the actual real piece. The next part is when we do something new, it's also much easier to feel insecure than when we do something that we're used to, right? So
yeah, this is new.
and
Totally new.
And there's two things that are new. You said you're in your beginning stages of coaching.
Yes.
And the camera work is new. So it's two new variables. And so it makes sense that insecurity will rear its ugly head and do this thing. So when I know that that's normal, it gives me a little bit more of a, because the problem I see in a lot of people is like, oh, and then this happens to me. And then they start feeling really bad about themselves. Like, what's wrong with me that this is happening? What's wrong? And it's not you. That's what happens when you do something new, and you do two things that are new, and you don't really know what you're doing yet. And then people come and say, Evelyn, can you teach me how to be more confident? And one of the things I like to say is that confidence is a byproduct of competence. Not exclusively, but certainly that's true. If you're really good at something and you know it, it's much harder to be insecure about it. And this is the piece where I like to offer the education when it comes to video presence. Who here has learned this stuff? Nobody. People just expect themselves to show up on camera and be brilliant because that's just the name of the game, not the name of the times. I went to acting school. I learned how to relate to things and objects and cameras. I learned how to speak, how to perform something, how to really relate to a script text, make it mine. I spent time with this. Most people haven't, but they expect themselves to just shake it out. But everyone that you see who's really good at that, or most people really have had training, and they had somebody guiding them in this. They're not born like that. And I find it almost humorous that we expect ourselves to be great at something we have no training in, and then wonder why we're not. And then go, oh, I'm so insecure. No, you're not trained.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yes.
And then it's like, oh, why are the people doing the course suddenly shifting in their confidence and how they come across? Well, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I just feel like I want to enjoy doing the videos,
Yeah.
and I can enjoy doing the videos. It's just that gap that I have. I don't know how to make a good video. I don't know how to perform.
Correct.
Yeah. So
yeah, and if you put me in an accountant office and said, Evelyn, do these tax bills for Deloitte or whatever, you need to audit Deloitte, that would be funny. I would probably not enjoy it. I'd be sweating, I'd be super insecure, and then they could come, well, Evelyn, where's your supreme confidence we know you usually have? And I'm like, I kind of believe in myself sometimes, but I don't know what I'm doing here. And it's stressful, especially when you have an expectation on top. I mean, if I go like, look, I know I don't know what I'm doing, it's fine. Then we're all having a laugh. She's obviously incompetent, great, whatever. And then you'll see numbers and me, we can be good for a little bit. And then suddenly they start jumping around and I need a break. And then they're still jumping around. And it's not my thing. Okay, we get it. It's not your level of competency or excellence. No wonder. But then it comes to speaking to people in public. We know that public speaking is a big thing, right? Public speaking is a big fear for a lot of people.
Yes.
Well, video speaking is public speaking 2.0, because it's speaking to a public that's not even there. It's a public it is there, but not necessarily right now. So right now, not many people are seeing us, but could be that millions of people will see this video one day. We don't know. So right now, the only place this public then lives is in our head. Or not, because we define what we want it to be. So the way I like to conduct a session like this is actually, I only have you in my head. I'm not thinking about everybody else. And I felt But when I did my first performance on BBC, on primetime television, and they told us, they're counting the numbers, it might be about, we're expecting between 8 and 11 million people watching this. I was like, I was like, well, just do the dance that you've done. You just do your song and your dance just the way that you've always done it. And there's a studio audience of, I think, 200 people. But in my head, it was complete horror because I'm like, oh, insert swear word here. These cameras mean 11 million people possibly. And it turned out 11, that's why I used that number. And so in my head, there was panic. Well, that doesn't, whereas if I had been able to, in that moment, to just concentrate on actually imagine this is the rehearsal room and I'm just doing this because I'm living this music video. And I'm somebody who loves living in her own music video. I would have had a different experience. So it is public speaking. I think it requires training, or in other words, when we have training, it's just so much easier to feel good about yourself because you know what you're doing because you've learned it. And when you feel good about yourself on camera, in your own skin on camera, then that translates to other people. And you get this beautiful reaction where people say, you really look like you love what you do. And you can say, well, that's because I do.
Yes.
And
I totally see the difference between one person who feels is just confident, but is just enjoying the video, and with other people that they're just so rigid, and you can
correct.
see something is not, it's not them. It's
not them. And well, I would love to let everybody know it's not because you're bad on camera. There's nothing wrong with you, but you're probably not very good at it because you've never learned how to do it. Come and learn how to do this. Everyone should have the chance to learn how to do this. And I get it. Some people went to business school when I went to acting school. Some people went and had their own businesses when I was trying to write a show. We all have different paths of lives, but that's why teaching skills, and it's just such a wonderful thing to do. It's like, well, now you need these skills that I have in abundance. I've summarized and brought them together, used the coaching and the performing skill, put them together, and then alchemize them into how does that work for an entrepreneur. And there you go. You can have them within the shortest amount of time. You can be totally relaxed and be very competent, and therefore have this genuine confidence on the camera. And ta-da!
Right.
So let's play with this a little.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the biggest challenge? Because I know that it's not just one. If it was just one, I wouldn't have a job, right? I would just go, here's what you need to do, done. But what's the biggest challenge between you and feeling really comfortable?
I think it's fear of other people's opinion, because I've been in corporate for 15 years. So
What did you do?
I was a sales manager for medical devices. So I worked for big companies and I knew what I have to do. So I was competent. And losing that confident feeling, and that fear of, being seen by your ex-peers or ex-co-workers as a newbie, and she doesn't really know what she's doing, she's going to fail. So again, is that feeling, that fear of other people's opinion. And I think that's the biggest thing that is getting in the way.
Yeah, I hear that. And when you show up on video, they will be able to watch you.
Exactly.
So they can form that opinion, and they will very, very quickly. I totally really understand that fear, and it's not unfounded. Sometimes we can go at it, go, well, let's not be afraid of that because let's not. And it's like, well, but it's quite true. They probably will watch it and they will have an opinion, and we would love for it to be good. Can we control somebody's opinion? No, we can't. But can we be afraid because it's there and it might have implications for us? Yeah, we can, and that makes sense that we would. Yeah. So again, one thing is, let's make sure that we actually are knowing what we're doing here, so we don't give them a reason to have that judgment and go, well, I agree with you, I really don't have a clue. Yeah. And then on the deeper level, let's have a look at what's true here. So the surface level to, I'm afraid of other people's opinion, the surface level solution is, let's learn to not be so afraid of other people's opinion, which is great. Good luck. Never worked for me. Right?
I'm a coach. It doesn't work for me because I deep inside, I know that I could do better with
Exactly.
help or with training or with trying. And it's no point to put myself into that position that will show an Ellie that could do better.
Yes.
At least from starting point, I could raise my bar.
Yeah.
That
So
the
we
beginning doesn't have to be so low. It could be a little higher. I know with practice you get better, but I just need to. I know that I can raise my bar to start.
perfect. I like that. I mean, most of my clients are complete perfectionists. They come in and I'm like, what is your problem exactly? And they're like this. I'm like, okay. It's because they have such a high vision of themselves and they will not stop until they have that. I love people like that. And because people who are dedicated to excellence are they're just, for me, they're joy to work with. And I love excellence. And why shouldn't we get better and really amazing at what we do? I mean, this is our life. I said your life is your... So I'm like, yay, let's do it really, really well. Let's go back to the initial thing. If you're afraid of other people's opinion, the surface solution is let's not be afraid of people's opinion. And we already know it doesn't quite work like that. One thing that does help is to know that everybody will have an opinion and it'll never change. So it's a piece where you're going to have to get used to that. There's a piece where people say, well, I guess as I practice, I'll just get better. And that seems that the idea is that will solve that problem. And I have a little yellow flag. I should get a real yellow flag to wave about this one because practice doesn't make perfect. I've coached bands. Some of them were really hardcore rock bands, and it wasn't necessarily pleasant on the ear. They practiced a lot. When they practiced a lot, they didn't get better. They lost their voice because that really poor singing technique. So getting practice means that you're practicing the things you already know and you're making them fixed habits. What you need in order to get really good at something is very deliberate practice. You need to know what you need to practice and then practice that piece. Ideally, you have a bit of guidance. Like we don't practice, we don't get better at driving a car, learning to drive a car when we haven't had the instruction first. First, you learn how to drive the car, then you practice, then you test yourself, and then you drive your car. And of course, the more you do it, the more easy you become at it. That makes sense. But it's at a certain level of safety that we let ourselves free in the wild. And again, with the videos, I see a lot of experts, people who've been fantastic and very experienced at what they do even. So I work with a lot of people who've been in the business for 10, 15 years, but they haven't been trained at speaking to a camera. And they unleash themselves to the camera and it's a disaster. And there's a problem because people do judge. And how do we know that's true? I judge the hell out of people, don't you?
Yeah, it's natural.
If I'm really honest, and I'm so spiritually evolved, I shouldn't, but I do.
Yes.
I'd like to think I'm better than that, but I find myself no, I do. If something is boring, it turns me off. I switch away. I roll my eyes maybe, and I turn off. Ooh, one moment, my assistant brings me a important news flash. What does it say? Dear birthday. Firm rider, charismatic, video confidence in well, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna hold in the camera. It's really good writing though.
Yes.
Beautiful, Momo. Can you also make me a picture, please?
Okay.
Thank you, darling. Close the door for mommy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love losing my thread. I like finding my thread.
Yeah, we were talking about judgment. We judge others judge us. It's natural. I mean, we humans.
It's totally natural. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever had about the judgment piece. It was so good. This came from the cabaret scene, and maybe Paul will see this. Paul L. Martin did this wonderful cabaret workshop, and he said, "Look, listen, people judge. That's what we do. So what you want to do is you want to know what they judge you on and own that and just speak that in the room first. And we do this in stand-up comedy and in performing. This is just works gold. If somebody who is overweight comes on stage, everybody's thinking, oh my God, you're big. That's just how it is. So pretending that that's not a thing makes no sense. But if that person comes in the room, starts the sketch with, I know I know you're thinking, what's this elephant doing on stage or something that makes fun of themselves, then everybody is like relaxing. Thank you, Momo.
Picture of him climbing up the tower.
That's awesome. Can we talk about this later? I want to tell you how wonderful I think this is, but I really want to concentrate now. can you please let me do my session, Momo, please? Thank you. Come on, close the door. You can have a yogurt. Have a yogurt. Yeah.
Like a sweet
Yeah,
yogurt.
go have it. Yeah.
The
But
chocolate
please
yogurt.
leave mommy to do your chocolate. That's how she does
So
it.
she's a
Master
good-
negotiation skill. I
Yeah.
mean, she knows how to get it. So own it. And when we make fun of ourselves, this is wonderful. It doesn't have to be derogatory at all, but it's owning what's going on for you. So anyway, the piece that was so useful for me around that was this relief of, oh, everybody's doing it. It's not just me judging. And I'm afraid people will judge me. Well, they will.
Yes.
They will. That's just fact. So I now know I go on campus, there's people are going to judge the hell out of me. I also know not everybody will like me. As I'm going further, I'm now noticing, actually, that's a good thing, because you want to find, there's people who don't care for me at all. There's people who can't stand me. And then there's people who are absolutely raving fans and they're really getting a lot of value from what I have to offer. Well, those are the people that I want to find and serve. And I really need my space now, Tuffle. Please, we've had an agreement. Go take your yogurt. I'll see you afterwards. No, I don't want to kiss now. I want to kiss now afterwards. Thank you, darling. You gotta love him.
Yes.
Um,
Of course.
So and then when you know that and you find out what kind of people they are, then you can really shape and pivot towards those people. Trying to be everything to everyone is exhausting, and it doesn't work anyway. So when we know that, something again can settle. You're not meant to be appealing to everyone at all. So this to that piece. The question we're tackling right now is, what do I do with the opinion of others is getting me nervous? So if we're going to look a little bit deeper on that, whose opinion is getting you most nervous?
Well, I think it would be the my ex co-workers, like my boss, my ex-boss.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Let's take your ex-boss. Your ex-boss is watching you. What are
Yes.
you afraid he or she would think?
That why she gave up a corporate career for doing this.
For this.
Yes.
And what would that mean about you if that's what they thought?
I could, like, I'm a failure in some ways. Like, yeah, like I will not succeed. Like I failed to take that decision.
And what does that mean? If you failed to take that decision and you didn't succeed?
Well, probably that because they were right that I took the wrong decision.
Okay, they were right, you were wrong.
Yes.
And what does that mean if you were wrong?
If I was wrong.
What does that mean about you? Yeah, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, like I was failing. Like I'm a failure.
And
yeah.
then?
And then. And then nothing really, because
yeah, because that's the end of the world.
It's kind of like the end, but it's not the end. It's like, is their opinion? Yeah.
Yeah, I call this the end of the world moment, where it's like,
well, oh yeah, it was definitely the end.
It's like, and then I'm failing, and then it means I'm a failure, and then what? Well, that's the thing, is it? That's the thing. So that's the thing.
Yes, you don't care.
That's the thing you're afraid of, to be a failure.
Yeah.
Who decides whether you are a failure or not?
Oh, I decide if I'm a failure or not.
Okay.
Yes.
So, who are you actually afraid of here?
It's just my own failure that I don't have what it takes to build a coaching career or business. So that's the biggest fear. It's like I don't have what it takes. I try hard and hard.
Got it.
But
that's almost a little bit different than I am a failure is different from I don't have what it takes.
Yeah, it's a slightly different, but I just feel it's not I feel a failure, but I feel it's too hard and I should be better going back to corporate. This is what.
Okay, but so if that was true, what would that mean? That if it's too hard and you should be going back to corporate, then what?
I will fail as a coach, or I will fail as an entrepreneur. Yes.
Yeah, and then we go back to
yeah, the end of the world.
The end of the world,
Yes.
feeling like a failure.
Yes, yes,
But who decides whether you're a failure or not?
yes, I do.
You do.
Yeah.
So who are you actually afraid of here?
Myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's your opinion that we're really afraid of here.
Yes.
There's good news in this.
Yes. Because I can work on myself for free.
Yes, and right. So if you are the one making that decision, then it's in your realm to make a decision about this. So how do you decide that you are or are not a failure?
Well, I work on this, and I think it's the definition of success. Like,
Mhm.
if I'm not a failure, it's because I'm succeeding. So, um,
Oh, I
and
get it. Yeah.
so it's my definition of success that is holding me into the path. So because
Got it.
yeah, so it's
So
see more positive than negative, and in terms of my own definition of success. So yeah,
but you're also a perfectionist.
yes, very
Yeah.
much.
So to uphold that definition of success and succeed by your own standards, it's not going to be an easy thing, is it?
No,
No.
no, definitely not. I actually had a 10 of my expectations, and then I had to lower down to 7 to start posting and to start
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
things like, okay, this is good enough. But it took me like months of learning how to post. And so with video is the same. I think I have to know a little bit of what I'm doing and before I actually launch myself into posting a video. So this
Yeah.
is kind of the same. My success or my perfectionism is holding me from trying.
So yeah, we can talk about that too. I'm kind of almost a level deeper here,
Yeah,
where
yeah, you are.
we
Yeah,
saw that you are the one defining whether you're a failure or success. You already know you don't want to be a failure. And then you said, well, I'm the one defining, I have the control because I define what success is. And you already see your level of standard of success is actually really high, had to already come down a little bit. The issue we're having here is with someone like you and me, because we have really high standards, it's really easy to end up a failure
yes,
because it's quite likely that we might not reach the levels of success and perfection that we have for ourselves at all times. Sometimes we might, and other times we don't. I've reinvented my life a fair few times. And as a performer, I mean, as a performer, what does success mean? Well, you have to be a pop star. You have to be successful to a degree that you have the mansion and the money and the thing. Okay, how do you do that? Well, you're brilliant. Well, I am brilliant. But you still need the record deal. Okay, go get the record deal. Okay, nobody signs me. Now I'm a failure again. It's really, really hard to succeed by these standards, which means if I share with you from my own life here, I've realized I failed so many times. And to me, I've been terrified, like really phobic of the idea of being a failure. It's like I must, whatever I do, I mustn't fail. But the truth is, we fail. And so as long as I have that grip on I mustn't fail, I'm really putting a lot of pressure on myself. And there's good things about putting pressure on yourself because it got you so far. There's a reason why you've done well in corporate. There's a reason why, why we have careers that we really have a strong drive and it pushes us. But this drive is not going to force you into being natural and relaxed and authentic. So if you're stepping up your leadership and you're coming out as yourself, as your voice, then this pressure is counterproductive. Does that make sense to you?
it does actually. Yes, it makes total sense.
So what got you here won't take you there. So when people come to me and they want to work, they say, I want to up level my leadership. I want to be heard, to be felt. I want people to get me. I want people to see what a brilliant, in your case, coach I am. How do I do that? Well, as long as we have this drive that I must be great at what I do, it's very difficult to transmit the energy of okayness to another person.
I love that okayness.
Okayness. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm okay, you're okay. And in my
Yeah.
world, we're okay. There's less, we're stretching the zone of judgment out. It's like, it's like, let's become more comfortable, actually become more comfortable, not pretend comfortable.
Yes. Yeah. Pretending is also something getting in the way of like be natural because I'm afraid of failure. Yeah.
Correct. No, yeah, me too.
So you have to pretend like you know
So then we
everything.
pretend. Then we become, and you see the confident people become overly confident. So if you look at material from when I started, I left everything up on YouTube so people can see it. It's terrible. I think and then I go into this overconfidence, which is a mask, a pretense. It's a mask for the insecurity underneath. The real art is to go into full okayness, which is an expandable zone. It's never finished. I'm okay. I'm done now. We all keep evolving, but it's in that okayness that I have more freedom. And it's in the freedom that I have access to my full, what they call potential, meaning in really practical terms, I know what I want to say in the next moment. I have access to my words, my wisdom, these ideas, these concepts. I can read a person. We can work deeply. And what is that worth? Like, that's what makes your business, right?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, it's great because I think sharing that fear and seeing that it's natural and you know all the judgment and everything, it's just giving you it's giving me like I don't know more comfort to keep going. It's not as hard as I thought. I mean, it will be a challenge, but it doesn't have to be a hard path.
Well, I'm going to argue that the path of pleasure can't be hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, but if I can't work hard at pleasure.
Yeah.
Yet I see that when you're in pleasure, that's when you really reap the results, especially as a coach. Unless you want to go into this hardcore, come on everybody, work hard, do more, go on, let the hustle game out. Then you probably don't need this, or maybe you'd still do. I don't, anyway.
Yeah, so it will be like having fun making the videos, showing up as myself, as as I am, not pretending, and engage people, knowing the message, how to structure messages and how to make videos, the science behind communication. Yeah, which is I never learned, so it will be great to listen to you and how you do that with your coaching program, because it's super interesting and valuable to learn. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So you saw it's a deeper work behind it. It looks like, oh, how do I do it with the structures and the lighting, and do I need a ring light?
It's not like 5 tips to make your best video.
Here's my hack. Well, and I put those hacks out on Instagram and on Facebook, and they are free. Everybody can have them. It's easy. You can look on YouTube and everywhere. That's the easy stuff. But that does not make you a really effective, warm, engaging communicator. So the difference between somebody who does a video and someone who's really showing up, serving in the world, is how you are being who you are when you are on screen. And so that's, as we call it, deep inner work, and it's pleasurable work. I loved when you said, oh, I feel more comfortable. That's the space. We're creating space within your system so that we can feel you. And sorry, my microphone. And she slaps the microphone in excitement. And so with that spaciousness and with that being you, now we can talk about, well, what is it that you want to say to people? What's the message? How do we structure it? And then we can talk about, okay, this is how you use effective storytelling for business.
Yes.
Because we don't, nobody needs another. And today in this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 tips of being amazing in life. Number 1, sleep more. Number 2, eat healthy. And number 3, exercise is really good for you. We don't need another one. In this video, I'm going to show you how life is wonderful when you have less stress. Stress is not good for you. Have less stress.
Yes.
So, but you can only go as deep with people.
I would do that if I do by myself. Like I would definitely fail into that category because that's the by default way that you try. I guess it's what you know. But it's not the best.
But do you like watching those videos?
No, definitely not. No.
Right? And yet we go and we then do it because it's interesting. There's something that happens when a lot of people are doing something. then we think it's valid. I mean, it's validation. It's social proof. If everybody's doing it, maybe I should be doing it too. Everybody's on Instagram, I should be on Instagram. And the thing is, maybe that's true, but maybe it's not true. And everybody's doing this 3 best tips of something. Maybe I should do it. Yes, and just because everybody's doing the 3 best tips of secret hacks doesn't mean yours is going to be successful too. But it also doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. So, because I've done the opposite, I've done, okay, well, everyone's doing that, I'm not doing that. And eventually said, well, I'm not doing any of the things that actually work because I'm always anti. I have to be different in everything, until I realized, oh no, there's no secret pill. But if you're doing the 3 hacks to confidence, or your 3 hacks to whatever you're doing, then do them really well. Do them really engagingly, do them with a big smile, do them because you love them, not because you were meant to do 3, secrets. Everyone has secrets, 3 mistakes. Here are the 3 mistakes people make. That's the problem. So we want to be really in it to win it.
Yeah.
And there's also my favorite, I do have to say that, because I just love that thing about thinking that we have to do what everybody else is doing. And that's this sentence: eat shit, millions of flies, can't be wrong.
It's a good one.
Good fun. Okay. Sure. We're nearing the top of the half hour where we kind of almost started. Is now a good time to tell you more about the program, or do you have another question?
No, I think you answered the biggest, deepest question that I have. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Then let me
go
just
ahead.
Okay, I'll go right ahead. So and now the 3 hacks to your career in video. So the way that I help people is twofold. 1, I work with people 1-to-1, and 2, I've devised a program, because I can't work with a lot of people 1-to-1, only with a very, very few, and I'm full. So especially as the pandemic hit, I saw that a lot more people will need this training, and that our businesses depend on the way that we're showing up on camera now. So let me do something that addresses specifically taking a business and up-leveling your presence on video so that you can do anything you want, because there's so much freedom available when you are fully yourself, authentic and human on camera. Plus, you know how to use these effective structures. Plus, you have this daringness, this unleashed daringness, where you just do whatever you want to do because you can and you will. And I find that often takes a little extra support. When we're on our own, it's easy to doubt ourselves and to not know. But when we have the right support and the people fighting your corner, it's easy to try new things and go with flags. And so that's why I've created the group program, and it's a really wonderful way to speed up the development. And the way that it works is everybody's on a different level when they start. So it's 12 weeks long. And within the 12 weeks, I've taken people from complete camera terrified to very poised and elegant on camera. We've had people who did not want to do lives who are now doing regular, very graceful lives on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn for me is a level up from Facebook. Anyone who can do Facebook Live, hi, how are you? And sorry to people on Facebook, I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, but LinkedIn is where really professional business people hang out, and the expectations to me seem higher than on Facebook, where you can afford to be more casual. So we've taken people to do LinkedIn Lives very, very confidently. And lives are a bit of a different kettle of fish anyway than your prepared videos. We start with teaching you how to make a prepared video so that we can really work with you on every aspect of it. The way you look, your voice, your setup, your background, your speaking, how you emphasize the script. We go through the whole process where I've devised the course into 2 fractions: content and personal coaching. The content is online, so you can watch it. As soon as you sign up, you have access to the content. You can start studying the content. Storytelling, effective storytelling for business, the language of leadership, how to use as a certain kind of language that you use, especially on video, that has people feel more and that addresses more of the senses. We're talking about breathing techniques and getting the exercise, the vocal warm-up routines in. We talk about, what have I got? I've got the balls model, so about the background and the lighting and the systems and the We talk about, gosh, what's all in the content course? Language of leadership, emotional fluidity. So how you stretch yourself emotionally so that people can have an experience with you. And again, this is what's missing with most people, especially when they come from corporate, because in corporate you're trained not to be emotional. And there's an old way of being professional that is less emotion equals more professional. Now, if you're in the modern leadership, in the modern digital leadership game, more emotion is more professional. And good luck to all of us because we haven't been trained that way. So it's not easy to show more emotions genuinely. The first thing we then go is into this exaggerated, animated being, which is also fine, but it's not the same as actually allowing yourself to become really emotionally fluid and transparent. So I'll talk about that more in the content piece, and then we coach on it in the coaching piece. And those are the piece, and how to write an effective script was just a major piece of the program. How to write an effective and engaging script. Like you said, there's a science to it. I've devised a structure called Time for Effective Power Video, and I take you through every little step of the way, why this piece comes here and this piece comes here and this piece comes here, so that you understand the pieces, so that you can use it either in its entirety or just in its fractions, and you do whatever the hell you want with it. Because we don't want to have everybody sounding the same, but we need to understand what the elements are so that you can actually make an educated choice and not just hope for the best when you go on camera. So we go through all that. It's a lot. It's a very content-rich program. And then we have personalized coaching for 12 weeks. So every week there's a coaching session in the group, and you bring yourself forward, bring your piece forward. You can practice a piece and get feedback on it, or you have a question, you get coaching on it, whatever is necessary. We're here and you get support from the group, and everybody has their turn. And then we also have a Facebook group where you can upload practice material, because you don't want to just unleash yourself to the public when you haven't been
safe
trained.
Safe space is great.
We do that in safe space, but everybody needs the safe space. You don't start coaching publicly when you haven't been trained as a coach. And in your corporate case, you don't start selling when you don't know what you're selling or how to sell. Everybody needs a place to practice. So that's where the group is. It's super practical. You upload your content there. Everybody in the group gives you feedback. I'll give you feedback. I've got members of team as well that help in there. Oh, it's exciting because the whole thing is growing so beautifully. So that's what we're doing in the course, which is how we're getting people to up-level their game within 12 weeks considerably. And the course is called Video Impact, Be Your Best Self on Camera, and it starts on the 27th of April.
Okay. I think I got an email from you with a link with all the details today. So.
Email from me with a link of the details. If anyone watching this is wondering, can I talk to you about this, Evelyn? The answer is no, you can't. Of course you can. Just get in contact with me and book a call. I like to talk to people personally on it. I want this to be a good fit for everyone. It's not a mass class where we just everybody come in and we don't care. We really care, and we're taking a maximum of 10 people per class. Okay. So there's attention on anyone. It's high level, high touch.
Okay.
Experience.
Well, that's so cool. I just feel like there is hope for my video improvement.
But it's not just hope. There's an actual way.
Yes, I'm a learner, so I just feel like there is always. I used not asking for help before. Like I tried to figure everything out by myself, and then I just released that. And I think there is so much help that you can get from the outside. There is
no reason why you shouldn't transfer your skills and your level of seniority that you have from corporate into your new business. Now you don't have to start from scratch. You get yourself the support, exactly the right support that you need, so that you start up here. Because that's
Yeah. So what do I do now? I'll have a look at the mail, and then I
say hello to Tafel. Can you please leave the room, my darling? Come. Can you please leave the room, darling? I'm in the middle of something, my love. What do you need? You want to be on camera? That's the only thing, is that you get kids that want to be on camera.
Better than me.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, thank you. Right, Tafel, can we do a video session after? Thanks. Tafel, please, can you just let me finish now?
Okay.
Thanks. Come on. Did you want to watch later or not? We had an agreement on this.
Can we just do it?
Okay, get out now.
I
I don't want
kiss
this
you.
conversation now.
Kiss
Oh yeah, no, I get the kisses. Oh no, I get the kisses. Oh, can't
Oh,
resist
so
the kisses.
sweet.
Oh, can't resist the kisses. No, 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 no scratching. No, it's fine.
Scratches.
Can we do that later, Taffa? Please respect me and respect my space. Thank you. Oh, they so know how to get me. It's unbelievable. Get out. Thank you. I love the kisses. Get out now, darling. Come on, get out.
More kisses.
So what happens now is I'm going to say thank you to everybody who's watching live and end the live, and then I can stay on the line if you want a little,
Okay,
and
just
we can
one.
discuss.
Yeah, perfect.
You probably need to go as well.
Yeah, just to pick up my kids.
Oh, we got this.
But I have
Alrighty.
a few minutes. No worries.
No longer than 5 minutes.
Yes.
Then let's end this.